So you guys are probably curious what this means for, cars like the Infiniti Q60 that I have.
Or I believe it also affects the Infiniti Q50 from certain years. And I mean, who even knows how widespread this could be? Any cars that use the same turbos that were used on this car could be affected. But first, we can dive into what this is and kind of what Infiniti explained is the problem. So for a while, people have been speculating that the turbochargers on the Infiniti Q60s and 50s from a certain year before they got revised had issues with them, or maybe it's already been confirmed before even this came out. But essentially what this long-winded letter says is that the turbochargers on the vehicles are a problem, and you essentially get, which is pretty good for whoever's going to own this car next, 10 years or 120,000 mile warranty. And it looks like they even investigated and are saying that the turbocharger thrust bearing can wear and leak oil internally, which kind of explains why some people get the different wastegate problems, or you start getting smoke on the exhaust. Now, for my car, I can start it for you guys so you can kind of hear the wastegate on it. It seems normal. I haven't gotten a check engine light for anything. I haven't really gotten smoke that was related to that, because after I put the stock exhaust back on, it stopped smoking. So I'm assuming the MBRP exhaust is what led to the smoke, and also deleting that lower cat with the AMS downpipes. Because the check engine light is one thing that can prove that it's a problem. Also getting a decrease in power. So that did happen to me before, but it was because of a battery issue that was causing so many electrical problems on the car, which is kind of crazy that a lot of people do have electrical problems.
And I guess that's a recommendation to anybody who might have one of these cars. It seems like a lot of problems you exhibit can just be a bad battery, so if you haven't changed it in a while, that could be it.
So yeah, check engine light, reduced power, and excessive white smoke from the exhaust is what they're saying is the big signs.
So for my car, I feel like the passenger side turbo is the one that is the worst. I don't really hear it much on the driver's side, but let's see if we can replicate it here. So you can kind of hear that rattle noise. But once the car stops warming up, it'll go away. So now the rattle's completely gone.
And even if I started getting into boost or, revving it real high through the RPMs or anything, I can never replicate that noise. It's only the first 20 seconds whenever you're doing a cold start.
And the exhaust that I used to have on here was an X pipe, and that passenger turbo is what led to this exhaust pipe, and this exhaust pipe had a lot of white smoke coming out of it on the startup.
And I believe on the startup the wastegates are closed or they run open. They probably run open.
And I think a lot of people have just gotten used to that being a thing that these cars do. I mean, even my mom's Subaru Outback that has a turbo on it has a tiny bit of wastegate rattle. It's not as loud as this, but I feel like wastegate rattle might just be a normal thing sometimes that you hear, and a lot of people on the forums have said is just normal about owning one of these cars. And some people like to say that it just appears on all turbo cars, but my WRX doesn't really have wastegate rattle, and some of the other cars that I've driven or my friends have owned that have turbos on them, I feel like I've never even heard wastegate rattle until I bought this Infiniti. But it's nice that they are seeing that it's a problem and they're giving people who have the model years, 2017 just so happens to be one for the Q60, a way to replace it for free under warranty.
But again, I never got a check engine light or anything from that, so I don't even know if I'd be approved for a replacement. They'd have to rip the car apart and see if that's actually a problem. And maybe this wouldn't be that bad of a problem if it weren't for where the turbos are located.
So you guys probably can't see on camera, but the turbo on the passenger side is down in this hole, and you can kind of see the inlet a little bit there of the turbo on the driver's side. But the thing that makes it so awful to change out these turbos is you have to drop the whole engine out of the car if you want to swap it. It's not just something that you can tear apart stuff up top to get to it, like maybe you could on the WRX, but you have to actually separate the whole body of the car from the engine, which is a pain and what makes it so expensive to get this done.
Because you're basically going through the whole process of doing an engine swap just to change out these two turbos. But it's nice that Infiniti finally realized that this is a problem that their cars are having and went and gave people a warranty so they can get it done. So we'll see. I got the Infiniti up for sale. I just listed it a couple days ago, and I also made sure to include in the description that I do have a warranty for it for the new owner to get. So I guess it actually helps to read through the whole thing. So it actually says if your vehicle experiences a check engine light that the tech determines requires replacement of the turbocharger, then you can get it replaced. So I wonder if I took it down myself, if they would do it, or if you do have to wait for a check engine light to appear. I'm sure that they would replace it if you go down there and try and get it proactively done, because your turbo blowing up can be catastrophic, even lead to more failures. Like maybe you have to get a whole new engine on top of that and everything, which I'm sure they don't want to do.
Unfortunately, it doesn't say what years that this covers from. I just know that for 2017 Infiniti Q60, and I'm assuming early years of the Q50, since they kind of have basically the exact same setup. One's just a coupe and one is a sedan. That also those years are going to be affected too. And there could maybe even be more different vehicles that Infiniti sells that could be affected if they use the same turbochargers that are used on this car. But from what I've read on the forums and stuff, it appears that they did make a revision maybe in like 2019, 2020 or something, where they fixed the problem that these cars were having with the turbos. So I'm assuming that's what they replace it with, is just the updated turbos. Because before I got this and when I was still building the Infiniti to make big power, a lot of people were saying the cost of replacing your actual turbos, you might as well just get some WRX 70s, I think they are, which is turbos that are rated for like 700 horsepower or something, because they're like, while you're under the hood, you might as well, put some big boy turbos in there to make more power instead of taking all that time to put the stock ones back in. Hopefully this could bring some awareness to the turbo problem that Infiniti is having with these cars, and if you didn't get a letter from Infiniti for your specific VIN, maybe you could still get it checked out, because I do believe it is early year Infiniti Q60s and Q50s at least. That's what I heard that they are sending letters for. So maybe if you don't get a letter, you could still go down and see if your vehicle does qualify based on the VIN or the year, or maybe even just call your dealer and see if they can look it up. But that's really all the info I can provide for you guys. That was the letter I got. That's the kind of different symptoms my car is experiencing. And I'm sure if I took it down there, they would replace it, kind of no questions asked, because the Infiniti dealer near us is pretty nice. But I figured that since it didn't seem to exhibit any problems, like, check engine light, loss of power, smoke, that I might as well just pass it on to the new owner. And if something does happen for them, I let them know about the problems. They can always get it done for themselves. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, kind of learned a little bit, maybe even got some more knowledge so you could talk to your Infiniti dealer if you're starting to experience any problems that these cars might exhibit. Because it's not cheap, since you do have to drop the whole engine out and everything. It is not cheap to get this work done. Props to Infiniti for being there for the people who buy their cars and covering it under warranty for free. So thank you guys so much for checking out the video. We'll see you in the next one. Hopefully we got some cool things coming up. What car is going to replace this car? Because now that we don't really need like a commuter sports car, we can kind of just go actual sports car. We might be able to get ourselves something that's pretty sick. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Peace.